Hi, this is Osman. I'm an energy healer, yoga and meditation teacher, and an entrepreneur. Please be sure to visit our website, yogawellness786.com, for more resources, ideas, tips, and how to get in contact with me. And also remember that our therapies are all natural and they are not a replacement for medical treatment. If you have a medical condition, please be sure to visit a qualified and licensed medical professional in your locality, period. So I want to discuss today what are the main elements of yoga. So yoga is a very wide topic and has many components that many of you don't know about probably. It has a component of drama, it has a component of music, and it has a component of warfare, fighting techniques, military tactics, also governance, diplomatic elements, how to govern and how to make decisions, and also mathematical components, astrology, astronomy, many components that you wouldn't have imagined, and also food preparation, because there is a yogic diet, a yogic way of how to prepare foods and so forth, right? So what in the 21st century, and now the making of this video is 2025, what are the, in my opinion, having been teaching yoga since 1981, which is now 44 years, that I believe are the main components. Yes, there are main components, and of the main components, 5 I would say stand out the most and very relevant for what regular people are interested in. And I would say they are: number 1, Hatha Yoga; 2, Mantra Yoga; 3, Raja Yoga; 4, Jnana Yoga; and 5, we will say Laya Yoga, or commonly known as Kundalini Yoga. So everyone's interested in the term Kundalini. If you haven't heard of it before, it's the dormant life force energy at the base of the spine, and requires a lot of effort and almost impossible to awaken. But yogic science has a few tricks and tips on how to do that, and I would consider this to be one of the major methods that people are interested in. So from these 5 methods, which are or is the most important? Actually, there are 2 more, and I cannot say one is more important than the other, that Raja Yoga is more important than Hatha Yoga. Many people, they go into Raja Yoga or Laya Yoga or even Mantra Yoga, and they focus solely on it, or even Jnana Yoga, like Swami Vivekananda, focused very deeply on Advaita philosophy and that aspect of yogic science. And many of his followers, or people who get influenced by these philosophies or these teachings, tend to neglect the other aspects of yoga, right? So from all the yogas, the ones that is a more comprehensive and all-encompassing, I would say, is Raja Yoga, right? But even though Raja Yoga is very encompassing and comprehensive in that it contains 8 major aspects: yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, right? So the last 4 is meditative elements, and the asana is not referring to the yogic Hatha Yoga. It just refers to a posture, comfortable sitting posture, for pranayama and for meditation. So asana is a prerequisite for pranayama and meditation, because if you don't have the right posture, it makes meditation very, very difficult. So instead of going too deeply into these elements, this is not the purpose of this video. The purpose is to ensure that you have a holistic approach and don't neglect the important elements, like the element of Hatha Yoga, right? So this is one subject of yoga which generally in my experience I found that people either practicing hatha yoga, you know, most of the time or almost completely, and neglecting all the other aspects, and maybe doing a little bit of breath work and a little bit of meditation, right? Or those that practice just mindfulness meditation, right? And neglecting hatha yoga, neglecting mantra yoga, the one yoga that is, I would say, neglected by almost 99.99% of the yoga practitioners of the Western world is mantra yoga, because it's firstly very difficult to understand what is mantra yoga, and secondly it's very difficult to find a qualified teacher to give you a mantra with its power, you know, because they keep the mantras a secret. And many Westerners visit Eastern countries like India in order to get a mantra, and they go online and select their own mantra as well. So it is important to be initiated into a mantra. And what's the purpose of a mantra? The mantra is like a insurance policy, because you are delving into spirituality, into the vast unknown. It's like you're taking off on a spaceship and you're taking off planet Earth and you're going into a journey to go into the next galaxy. You don't know, you are exploring frontiers that was never explored before, right? Or going into frontiers that you have never experienced before. And not so easy for you to go back to home base. You are all on your own. Once you've taken off, you're in outer space, you're all on your own. So mantra yoga is something which has got your back like a lifeline. It grips you and grounds you, and so that you are never lost, or you may have some great encounters. It will also act as a protection for you and a guide for you, right? So this is what the importance of the mantra is. So you discern for yourself how important is that to have an insurance policy when you go into the great unknown, right? How important is it when you encounter some enemy forces that you have, a protection that is going to be, of the level that's going to be competent protection, right? Not your own made up protection that you're trying to scramble, in the last minute. What do you think is going to happen to you, right? So you're going to get lost and you're going to get destroyed, right? So so it seems like outer space science fiction that I'm talking, but I've got extensive experience in the practice and teaching of yoga, and studying it intensively for almost 50 years, right? And practicing it for almost 50 years, teaching for 44 years, but practicing it for almost 50 years. And it has been not only a sideline practice, but a main core interest and passion of mine, for almost all my life, from a very young age until this day, right? So it is not something that I theoretically went and learned in order to teach and earn an income from it or so forth. And most of my life, I would say for more than 4 decades, I never earned any income from it and did it just selflessly. When I was teaching yoga, till this date, I never taught yoga yet, charging money for my lessons. Yes, for advanced, protocols, I charged money. And that is not to earn an income from it, because if I was focused on income earning, I would not have taught yoga for free, right? So, not getting into all that, it is very important to embrace, find a qualified teacher and guideline on mantra yoga, and also find, ensure that you practice hatha yoga, which is much neglected by most people who are practicing mindfulness and going into, the advanced elements of yoga. And the importance of hatha yoga, it is extremely important. It balances the energy. When you sit and meditate on a daily basis, automatically, no matter how you think that you are not good at meditation, and you cannot meditate, your mind is jumping around, or it's your first day, or you just started meditation. As soon as you start meditation, you follow any simple protocol, right, of meditation, even the smallest protocol or the smallest, just you make the intention to meditate and try to meditate, you are automatically connected to the cosmic energy, and the cosmic energy automatically downloads into you. Although if you are a novice and you don't know what you are doing, the rate at which the cosmic energy is downloading into you is at a very slow and a mild or very light pace, but nevertheless it's going and collecting. It comes into your body and collects in pockets in the various major energy centers of your body, or where it finds room to collect, right? And it stays there, collected. When you practice Hatha Yoga, you balancing, you stretching, you squeezing, you bending, and what actually happens is that energy, which is stored in different pockets of energy centers, gets dissipated and spread evenly throughout the body, right? If you do a holistic yogic practice, and you don't have to practice thousands of postures or hundreds of postures, or for hours and hours. I think it's about 6 or 7 basic postures, even 3 basic postures, right, can have the effect of more or less balancing most of the energies, so that the energies become evenly distributed throughout your body, so that as you're progressing with your yoga or your meditation, you enjoy a balanced evolution of the complete body in gaining a balanced energy throughout, in all levels of your energy centers, not just certain aspects of your life. So each energy center controls a different aspect of your life. There are a total of 114 energy centers, of which 26 are active by default, and the balance is dormant. But with the practice of Hatha Yoga and meditation, you're spreading the energies through all the other centers, and slowly starts activating the other dormant energy centers. And by activating your dormant energy centers means the 80% of the energy centers which are dormant becoming active, and they are responsible for other aspects of your life, means it's enriching your life and your experience of life exponentially. Parts of your life, nuanced part of your life that you didn't even know exist, you start appreciating that much more. Your intuition grows, evenly, and you start enjoying good health. One of the big problems, in neglecting Hatha Yoga is that people who's advancing in yoga, they tend, as time progresses, contracting different types of ailments and illnesses, and dying a premature death, which is a sad state of affairs, that you're dying prematurely before you could reach the conclusion. If you enjoy good health, overall health, and can enjoy robust health and a longer lifespan, more time means you got more time to self-actualize, also reach higher levels, of maturation in your yoga practice, but also in appreciating and enjoying life that much better with less ailments. Because the latter part of life with a lot of ailments becomes a drudgery, and a lot of people who are suffering with old age and all types of ailments are not living a very happy and a pleasant life, with all the pain, illnesses, chronic ailments, paralysis, strokes, severe, and having to go for, all types of surgeries and so forth. This is not good, post-surgery, chronic ailments, and trying to manage together with the medications and the side effects of the medication. You can live a clear, free life. So now, unfortunately, I had the problem of the loss of my eyesight, but I'm still enjoying perfect health in every other way, right? So when I was 16 and when I am, and now, I don't find any difference in my flexibility, in my mobility, in my energy levels, right, and my passions, and I'm still like a child, and I still enjoy a voracious appetite like a teenager. I still feel like a teenager inside, right? So to have this level of passion in your life, this passion for life, and the positivity, that comes with it, right? To be able to overcome negative situations and challenges, not be put down by it. You don't find, generally those who are very high energy levels down and negative and, put down by the challenges of life. So having these higher energies is a big advantage. So practicing Hatha Yoga is absolutely important, and not only that, it does a great deal towards awakening your dormant energy centers as well as the dormant Kundalini energy. It helps greatly towards awakening that, which is the awakening of the second part, or the higher levels of your existence, your spirituality side. And so you get to experience your ethereal body and developing your ethereal body or your energy body, and awaken your light body, and go to higher realms and alternative, to be able to be perceptive of higher frequencies. And when you speak to someone, you understand them 1,000 times better, because you can understand the intonations, the mood behind, the words and the feeling, and understand, so to speak, what people are thinking, with understanding their intention when they say something. Someone could be saying the same thing every day, but sometimes they mean something totally different when they're saying the same thing, right? And you are able to understand that and catch that. And when people are struggling to express themselves or trying to bring across something, with difficulty, you understand everything before they could even, say a word. And, this is so amazing with uplifting your social relations and your understanding of everything around you. Not only understanding people, but understanding, natural phenomena, understanding, to be habiting or living in harmony with your environment, with your ecosystem, and understanding, what is the best, for both, for everyone concerned, like a win-win situation. Not only all people, but environment, inanimate objects, and animals as well. Living in harmony. This is such a utopian way of living, and you open all these up, with yoga science. So the importance of yoga is not only, to go into deep spirituality, but to enhance the quality of your day-to-day life exponentially, and a positive life. So coming back to the major components of yoga, Hatha Yoga, Mantra Yoga, Raja Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Laya Yoga or Kundalini Yoga. So the importance of finding a teacher who can teach you all components, is your goal, or find multiple teachers in each of these different categories. And the two other categories which I haven't mentioned, because I normally try to keep these two categories out of my yoga teaching, because they tend to indicate sectarianism or a philosophy, and I try to keep sectarianism or philosophy out and keep things more to science. But now science is delving into the study of religions from a scientific perspective, not taking any sides, but to see how religion can be positive or negative. And there has been some great science studies, over long periods of time and across large numbers. I think it's a 20 to 30 year study across hundreds of thousands of people, from various walks of life and around the globe, that indicating that those that have faith or trust and practicing sincerely with strong belief tend to have significant reduction in the health, in the negative health markers, in that the stress levels are down, I think, around 30%. The likelihood of chronic ailments reducing to around 20%. So all these things are significant factors, in bringing. So that brings about Bhakti Yoga, right? Which normally is not mentioned often, And the second one is karma yoga, or selfless service, or actions to, selfless actions where you're helping others or doing good or trying not to do harm in your daily activities at the very least. So instead of we're not encouraging you now to start doing charity, left, right, and center. You can do charity within a very limited, aspect. Some religions, promote a 10% tithing or 10% charity, of your income, and some as little as 2.5%, and some within what you can, afford or manage, in anything. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a monetary amount. It can even be, a kind word, or doing your work in a way that is not going to be harmful to someone. If you know that your product or your advice is, although you're going to earn money from it, but it's going to be negative for that particular person's circumstances, inform them so. And the Japanese, there's one story of an incident in Japan that really happened. A person who was a multi-millionaire, possibly a billionaire, loved watches and collecting watches, and he was visiting Japan, and he went to this exclusive store and he wanted this amazing watch that was a collector's piece, and the store says no, it was reserved for someone who asked to reserve it because he is interested and may consider buying it. And usually they reserve it for 3 months if someone requests it to be reserved, but it's not a promise that he's going to purchase. He's just interested in it and considering purchasing it, right? So they consider their honor above profit. So this particular collector, multi-millionaire who was there ready to purchase, got the cash in his hand, was a guaranteed buyer, right? They refused completely. They said no, and no matter how he tried or spoke, they refused to sell it to him, because they said the reason is the honor is more important, than the thing, because they gave their word, right? So this is the type of also karma, where you keep your word, you honor, cherish ethics, you cherish values, and you become known to be someone dependable and trustable, right? Is some of the ambits of karma yoga, and also when someone seeks your help and you have the capacity to help them, and to, without wanting something in return, if it's possible to help. So this helps to cleanse your heart and bring out the component of love, which is the central core of every living entity, right? This is as you advance in meditation, you find the core of everything is love. There's a saying, love makes the world go round, right? So this is what it is. So the other two aspects, so although I mentioned 5 main ones, but the 2 other ones which are often not mentioned is karma yoga and bhakti yoga. So from my opinion, right, it is very difficult to practice yoga, hatha yoga and jnana yoga and raja yoga and laya yoga and mantra yoga, all these yogas are very, but bhakti yoga and karma yoga is very easy for any person. 100% of the people can follow that. So your bhakti yoga doesn't mean you have to necessarily become a Christian or a Buddhist or a Hindu or a Muslim, right? You can follow what your heart, because some people following, the scientific, what is scientific and what makes sense for the better good in terms of social norms and ethics of the day, because there's a common culture of common sense humanity that doesn't need a religious book to come say it's wrong, to patronize someone or to to harm people. And these are things that people know naturally that this is wrong, right and wrong. And you don't want to to have a book or a preacher or something that you haven't seen to dictate to you, common sense values. And there is scientific information as well, which is sufficient, to living, a balanced humanitarian life, right? And trying to preserve, your ecosystem, and protecting the rights of animals and the rights of the underprivileged, and ensuring that the underprivileged are taken care of, and there's health care for everyone, and there's food and clothing for everyone, and shelter for everyone. So there are homeless shelters, that live on sponsorships. Sadly, not many people are providing for these, the upkeep of these type of organizations. And there's a Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, or anti-cruelty societies for animals, or animal care groups. These. So you don't need any religion to be able to contribute towards these. And there are many organizations, charitable organizations, that have certain missions, that they are raising funds for a particular purpose. There are probably destitute people in a certain location, in a war-torn area, and they're raising funds. And that could be your religion, right? And that could be your karma yoga as well. So these two things are important, that you consciously, practice that. And they are, I believe, foundational to yoga practice. If you're not practicing bhakti yoga or karma yoga, at least common humanity, right? And the better good of humans, and trying to, be careful of what you say, what you speak, what you say to whom. You don't have to become a saint. If someone wrongs you, you have a right to speak up, right? And voice your, objection, or defend yourself, verbally, right? And sometimes you may have to physically defend yourself, right? So that doesn't, I'm not saying, become a saint and, turn the other cheek, right? Following the basics of, the common good of everyone, and common human values and ethics is foundational, because it's what makes you civilized and human, right? You need that at the core of yourself before you go to elevate to higher levels through yogic science, right? What's the point of doing all the meditation and all the mindfulness practices and the yoga postures when you don't even cannot even greet your neighbor, or you cannot even help someone in need, although you are able to, right? And your own close family member contacts you, reaching out for help, and you can't help them, although you have the capacity to help them, and they are in need of help. They have some disability, or some need, and are desperate for help. These are common, important, foundational things in yoga. So the important parts of yoga are stressed a little bit on the bhakti and karma, because it is very important, right? So if you are following a particular religion, okay, science says you're already going to have that much less significant stress, and you already have, a percentage of your health, already, ahead of the rest of the world in terms of, the betterment of your own health. So good for you, and just be responsible with your diet and so forth. So these are the major aspects of yoga, the 7 major aspects in total. And I hope this helps you. And be sure to visit my website, yogawellness786.com, for more information, to be able to get in touch with me. If you have any questions, I would appreciate comments. And don't forget to like or subscribe to my videos.